Join me weekdays 4 to 6 p.m. for Matt Connarton Unleashed in the afternoon, live on WMNH 95.3 FM.
This hour on WMNH is proudly sponsored by CGI Business Solutions, located at 171 Londonderry Turnpike in Hooksett. Serving all your employee benefits planning, design and administration, investment and wealth management, and customized business insurance solutions. They are available at 866-841-4600 or on the web at cgibusinesssolutions.com.
You are listening to WMNHLP, Manchester's radio, broadcasting at 95.3 megahertz frequency modulation from the top of 1000 Elm Street. Our studios are located at 1045 Elm Street and licensed to Manchester Public Television Service in Manchester, New Hampshire, USA.
Do. How are we to know he'd get with the Russians too? They were peeing there in Moscow, and Cullen's in on this. His lawyer pumped some money, yeah, to get him out of this. He's the president's own fixer, and somehow he got stuck between that Trump and some hard time, and he might just be yes, he's down on his luck. Yes, he might just be he's talking with Stephanopoulos. He's a desperate man. Trump's lawyer needs some money. The head's not a fan.
Says who? I can take the
weeks of uncertainty, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has opted to bring the sentencing and prison reform bill known as the First Step Act to a vote. This comes after receiving pressure from numerous lawmakers and advocacy organizations on both sides of the aisle, and perhaps most importantly, from the president, who tweeted, "Go for it, Mitch," while urging McConnell to give this bill a chance on the Senate floor. While McConnell has said in the past he didn't want to bring this to a vote because of a lack of time in this legislative session, some observers believe he didn't want a Republican fight in the Senate over the details of this bill, a fight that he may still have to have, specifically with Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton, who has been unrelenting in his criticism of the First Step Act.
I gotta say, there are people who have come to this process with real concern about getting this right. Tom Cotton is not one of those people.
Jessica Sloan is the national director and co-founder of Cut 50, a prison reform initiative that has been lobbying to get the First Step Act to President Trump's desk.
Says who?
Tom Cotton despises everything criminal justice reform. I see that he has gone in and found a way to spin things and make misinformation that sounds really scary to the media. However, he is wrong.
Cotton has raised several concerns surrounding the bill, but the big one is he believes it offers early release to violent felons and sex offenders. In response to his criticism, lawmakers have added several additional offenses to the bill's exclusion list, which is the list of prisoners who are excluded from receiving time off their in-prison sentence. While Sloan still supports this version of the bill, she doesn't believe there should be an exclusion list at all.
I don't think anybody should be excluded from the time credits in this bill. But I think that if we had somebody who had been in there for 10 years, even if they had committed a violent crime, I would rather that person come home in 9.5 years, having gone through almost a decade of rehabilitation programming, than come home and live next to me after 10 years not having taken any of that programming.
The Senate reportedly doesn't have the unanimous consent it needs to fast-track a vote on the criminal justice reform bill this week, but GOP leadership still claims the bill will get a vote before this legislative session ends.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. It's great being here in Memphis, and I gotta tell you, a lot of people have been saying I look like Elvis. It's true. They say I look like Elvis, so I'd like to do a tribute to the great man himself, the King. Hit it, boys. The warden threw a party in the county jail. Everyone in my administration started to wail. Indictments headed down to the whole West Wing. You should have heard my lawyer Michael Cohen sing, "Let's rock." Everybody, let's rock. Everybody with the White House job was dancing to the jailhouse rock. Robert Mueller said the Russians fixed my votes. Manafort was caught lying under oath. Rick Gates, Sam Patton, Michael Flynn, and don't forget George Papadopoulos. Let's rock. Everybody, let's rock. Everybody with the White House job was dancing to the jailhouse rock. Manafort spoke to Julian Assange. Elvis's hair was black and mine's orange. I'm all shook up, the walls are closing in. I'm a hunk of burning love for Vladimir Putin. Let's rock. Everybody, let's rock. Everybody with the White House job was dancing to the jailhouse rock. Everybody's in the jailhouse with me. Oh, that's right. Fake news. Thank me very much. Thank me very much.
Says who?
Polls. I just told you I answered your question.
Which poll?
All of them.
Auto sequence starts. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
If you listen to the Matt Connarton Show, it's the #1 show from 4 to 6, Monday through Friday on 95.3 WMNH.
Oh.
Hey, everybody, welcome. It's that time again. Matt Connarton, Unleashed in the Afternoon. We are live on WMNH 95.3 FM, emanating from a very cold downtown Manchester, New Hampshire, streaming at WMNHradio.org. Of course, we're also on Channel 97 Comcast if you're in the Manchester, New Hampshire area, and of course on Facebook via Facebook Live on the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page. And already see some activity in there. Let's see. Heidi Hamer is in there. Hello, Heidi. Christian Cunard also in the Facebook Live chat. And Heidi's asking, Matt, have you heard anything about the new job? Well, we'll address that in a moment, Heidi. But, of course, we are taking your calls, 603-250-6007.
We're just about ready to have the phone go ding-a-ding.
603-250-6007 is the number to call. Or, of course, you can always opine in the Facebook live chat as well, or share something to the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page. But no, Heidi, I do not, I have not heard anything about the job yet. For those of you who don't know, and I hope that you do know, because I hope that you listen every day and listen to every scintillating second of Matt Connarton Unleashed. But if you don't know, well, actually...
and if you don't know, now you know.
If you don't know, I have applied, or I'm in the process of applying. I'm going through the application process to be Donald John Trump's new chief of staff. I am the man for the job. And I don't, I know I should probably say I'm the person for the job. I don't mean to be sexist, but I don't know if any women have applied. So... but so I mean it just more in the broader sense. But anyway, we should not be gender specific about these matters, certainly in these politically correct times. But now, the way things stand currently, just a quick review and recap. So a few days ago on the show, Stumpy was here. Oh, hello to Brad Wallace in the Facebook live chat. Welcome to the program, Brad. Jeff Scumpy Lorenz was here and helped me compose my letter, my cover letter, to send with my resume to the White House as I vie for the position of White House Chief of Staff. Now, I'm not quite sure, but I cannot say with certainty that I did, in fact, remember to affix a stamp to the envelope. So I may end up just getting it right back. And I do know with certainty, I forgot to put my resume in the envelope. I just put the letter in there. So I'm hoping the letter is enough. I'm hoping the letter just makes such an impression that Donald John Trump himself reads it and says, we have to hire this man. I mean, he's incredible. He's extraordinary. He's just, he's huge. I don't even know what that would mean. But anyway, so that's my hope. That's the goal. Stumpy did call yesterday. I mean, Scumpy, not Stumpy. Sorry. Scumpy did call yesterday and said he's confident that he can get me the job. Now, part of the deal is, because I guess he's got an in with Trump. And we talked about, too, Scumpy did say that I'm one of the 10 because Trump said the other day, he said, it's fake news, this thing, that I offered Nick Ayers the job. And he said, no. Nick Ayers, of course, Vice President Mike Pence's chief of staff, who apparently declined. So Trump said, it's fake news that nobody wants the job. I've got 10 people vying for the job right now. And Scumpy claims, because unlike yours truly, Scumpy is a bona fide, true Trump supporter. And he has an in, which is why I have to bring him with me to Washington when I get the job, if I get the job, hopefully. And Scumpy will be my assistant. And that's why I had to amend that letter, by the way, and I included a P.S. at the end of my cover letter. I said, P.S., can I bring Scumpy? Now, but Scumpy claims that he's got inside information, my friends, and says that I am one of the 10. So that's great. So apparently I'm competing against 9 other people. I would like to think I have no competition. I don't really like competition very much, which doesn't exactly make me sound like a free market capitalist, which I just mean that I don't like people competing against me. I want it to be a nice, easy glide into the White House, and I want that salary. I don't know exactly what the job pays, but I assume it pays well. And, the 401k and the health insurance. And I have heard, and I didn't get this from Scumpy, I have a source of my own who tells me that the White House Chief of Staff does, in fact, also receive a dedicated parking space, which is very exciting. So apparently I'm one of the 10. I did tell Scumpy, I said, I'm glad that it's not even more than that. Trump may be a victim of his own success in that regard because, he takes credit for how well the economy is doing and how low unemployment is. But in actuality, if you think about it, it's ironic, isn't it? If the unemployment rate were a little bit higher and there were a little bit fewer jobs, there might be 15 or even 20 people vying for the job of White House Chief of Staff. But there are only 10. Apparently, I'm one of them, so there are 9 others. So we're hopeful. We're optimistic. Hello to Jenny in the Facebook live chat. We'll see what happens. I do think I'm qualified. I mean, Trump likes people who work in media. I'm a talk show host. I think I've complimented Trump. Trying to think of when. I talk about him a lot. I did say something nice about him, didn't I? When was that? I'm trying to think of when that was. Anyway, I'm pretty sure I complimented him on something. And, and I can fake it. I mean, if you heard the letter, and I've already read the letter on the air twice now, so I'm not going to read it again today for those of you who do listen to every scintillating second of the program. But, so we'll see. Apparently I typed in the Facebook live chat, nice tie. I don't know how I did that or what that means, because that's, I can assure you that wasn't me who typed that, but it says Matt Connarton Unleashed. So anyway, so we'll see what happens. And if I get the letter back, because like I said, I think I forgot to put a stamp on it. So, I might get it back, but that might be just as well, because then I can include my resume and then resend it. See? So it's all going to work out. It's all going to come to fruition. Very, very exciting times. So again, I think I forgot to give the date, by the way. I got distracted by my employment prospects. Jenny said, you complimented Trump on his tie. No, I think that was Scumpy who did that, actually. But Scumpy's a big fan of Trump. That's why I'm glad to have Scumpy on my side. Because, like I was saying, if Scumpy's my assistant, it'll be helpful to have someone who is a true blue Trump supporter with me. Because let's say, for example, something happens, Trump says something or does something that I just can't make sense of in my own mind. Scumpy can kind of translate it for me. Like I can say to Scumpy, hey, the president said this, and it's weird, and I don't know what to do with it, and people are asking me, and then Scumpy can just be like, oh, Matt, you got to just think of it like this, and then I'll be like, oh, okay, well, that seems still really insane, but I think I can work with it, you know what I mean? And then we'll go forward from there. So, but today is, of course, Thursday, December 13th, the year of our Lord, 2018. And let me give the number one more time, and then we'll get into some stuff. Of course, you can give me a call at 603-250-6007.
We're just about ready to have the phone go ding-a-ding.
603-250-6007. So, by the way, the other day on the morning show, a couple of guests on the program, the morning show with Peter White, Glenn R.J. Willett was here. And by the way, I mentioned it yesterday. I recently figured out Glenn's in the building. Actually, he does his television show on Thursdays. Maybe he'll stop in. He hasn't been on in a while, but I told the venerable Mr. Hopwood yesterday. I finally figured out what RJ stands for. It stands for real sexy. Just saying. But Glenn was on the morning show the other day, and he brought another individual with him who apparently is not a big fan of mine. But I think she secretly loves me and just can't deal with her feelings. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed in the afternoon. Who's this?
Matt, why are you so mean to my hobby? What makes you think you become chief of staff?
Melania,
because of my friend Scumpy?
We haven't, yes, because of Scumpy. We haven't heard from you in a long time, Melania.
Me, busy, Matt.
You've been busy? What have you been doing? Have you been doing your anti-bullying, anti-cyberbullying campaign?
Me window out staff member on hobbies. What you call the people that make Melania's wife so miserable.
Melania,
Dad, why are people so mean to Melania?
Melania, I would never be mean to you. I want you to help me get the job of chief of staff. I need the Melania seal of approval. Scumpy alone just isn't enough.
They're so mean to Melania. They take away Melania's. Yeah.
I would never be mean to you, Melania. Melania, I want to give you a warm embrace and whisper something softly in your ear, like, help me get that job, Melania.
Stumpy for that.
Well, I don't want to give Scumpy a warm embrace and whisper something softly in his ear. Plus, he's very tall. I don't think I can reach that high.
Who's Scopy? You mean Stumpy?
Scumpy. With a K.
That little guy with the apple cheeks on your show.
No.
Stumpy. You talk about him?
What about him?
Oh, man. I'm having cigarettes in Air Force 2.
You're having a... Why? What are you doing on Air Force 2? Why are you with the vice president?
We got secret arrangement.
Oh, well, this is just scandalous.
He's not shut down. And Melania, don't get him fired.
You're going to get Mike Pence fired? Is that what you said? Oh, my goodness. She hung up. Wow. I can't. This is a terrible scandal. And by terrible, I mean delicious. I had no idea that Melania, our first lady, and Mike Pence, a good Christian man, who extols the virtues of his faith, and of course his and all the homophobia and all that. I can't believe that he would. Terrible. Hello to did I say hello to Chris Rose? Hello to Chris Rose in the Facebook live chat. And Jenny says, sounds like Miss Piggy when angry. Well, that's a terrible thing to say about the First Lady, Jenny. How dare you? That is the First Lady of the United States. She works on anti-bullying, anti-cyberbullying, to try to discourage people from going on Twitter and being bullies and being mean to people, which by the way, I think we all owe Melania a round of applause for that. I think it's wonderful that she does that, that she tries to help people, young people, try to discourage young people from bullying, but also older people, in some cases, perhaps grown men, very powerful men who are several decades older than her, trying to discourage them from going on to social media sites like Twitter and saying terrible things, saying mean things to women and whatnot. I think it's wonderful that Melania is working to do that, and I don't think she deserves being called Miss Piggy. I think that's just horrid. Jenny, I hate to say it, but I do think you owe the First Lady an apology. Then again, maybe not, because this revelation about Mike Pence is that's just terrible. I can't believe it on Air Force 2, unless she said something about smoking cigarettes with Mike Pence. So maybe that's what she meant by the arrangement. President Barack Obama was known to sneak a cigarette once in a while. He was a smoker. So if I even now that I'm thinking about it, I think I recall Sean Hannity or Glenn Becker or someone saying that Barack Obama should be impeached for smoking. Christian agrees, Jenny says. Yes, well, she should agree that you owe Melania Trump an apology. I think we all agree with that. My goodness, I cannot believe you would be so disparaging, especially on a show like this. I do a very classy, intellectually driven, very serious, respectful program here, and I just we don't need that kind of smut comparing the First Lady to a Muppet. I mean, granted, I did once say that Debbie Wasserman Schultz actually physically resembles a Muppet, but John Hopwood's a little sweet on her, so I try not to be too disparaging. I'm kidding, of course. It's all in fun. We're having some fun here today. We'll get serious in a minute. 603-250-6007 is the number to call.
We're just about ready to have the phone go ding-a-ding.
603-250-6007. But let's see. There is much to discuss. It appears that the Senate has voted to end U.S. support for the Saudi war in Yemen, which I guess is a rebuke of the Trump policy, right? But the thing is, well, for one thing, this should have already been done. Like, this shouldn't have been going on. We should not have been complicit in this to begin with, what's going on in Yemen. But we do have a call. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed in the Afternoon. Oh, hang on, I screwed that up. Let me try that again. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed in the Afternoon.
Matt!
Who's this? Oh, my goodness.
Matt,
Who's this?
Who's say Melania? Melania like pig.
That was Jenny.
Who say that?
She didn't say you're like a pig. She just said
Who
you're
say
like.
Melania pig?
She said you're like.
I said she should service to Manchester. I like not to be back home.
Well, oh my goodness. Now, okay. Now Jenny's never going to get a job in the White House because Melania is upset with Jenny. Now, Melania, in Jenny's defense, she did not say that you were like a pig. She just said you're like Miss Piggy. And that is an important distinction. One is an animal, one is a Muppet. Hello to, and eventually I'll get this name. I will. But it is a little bit of a struggle for me. Abdulbagi Hamad? I hope I got that remotely correct. And hello to Matt Meserve in the Facebook live chat as well. We got some more new folks in there, and we have another call. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed in the Afternoon. Who's this?
I didn't say that the First Lady was a pig.
No,
I would never say such a thing.
I
think
know.
She's a very beautiful woman.
Yes. No, you said she's
and
like
I
Miss
am
Piggy.
Opposed to saying negatives about people who didn't actually run for office.
Yes, I know.
Go figure.
Yes. Well, so you're
but,
calling to apologize?
You got to admit,
are you calling
your
to...
caller, who may or may not be Melania,
mm-hmm.
I have serious doubts that is Lotus. Sounds a lot like Miss Piggy when they're angry.
Yes. But what if that was Melania? Don't you think that's hurtful to say about her?
It would be hurtful if it was her, but I know this. I know that even in the condition that I am in, I know that is not Lotus.
How do you know? Have you ever heard Melania when she loses her temper, when she's very worked up?
I have not, but I bet you she
Mhm.
goes back to like one of her more native languages, since she speaks like 5 or 6 different languages, and probably knows how to tell people off in ways that we can only dream.
I could only understand maybe a third of what she was saying when she called to begin with. So I think that's exactly what happened, thus proving that was Melania Trump.
Oh, no, it wasn't. Take a poll. No, it wasn't.
All right, but I'll tell you what, if you apply for a job...
But a Muppet?
If you
a Muppet, I could see on the other end of that phone.
If you apply for a job...
I can envision a Muppet very clearly.
If you apply for a job in the White House in the future and you don't get it, you'll know why. It's because you offended Melania.
I don't think they'd hire me anyway.
They're hiring. Trump can't find a... You could probably...
Don't they check your voting rolls before they hire you, though?
If I don't get the chief of staff job, you probably could have, but not now. Not
Yeah,
now that you've offended
I keep
Melania.
telling you, I don't think it's going to happen because you didn't vote for Trump. And when they check your registration, see you didn't vote for Trump. Because they know everybody votes for...
No, they can't check. They can't check who I voted for. Only
oh,
that
the
I'm
government
registered.
knows. Yeah.
Well, they may. They may. The deep
everything.
state might know.
Know it all.
Okay, so you're
And
on.
with that,
so
have fun.
Would you like to apologize in case that was Melania?
I would wholeheartedly apologize if I ever said anything to malign Lotus.
There we go.
I draw
yes.
the line at Muppets.
Okay. Fair enough. I hope for your sake that wasn't her.
Have fun.
All right. Bye-bye.
Where's Floppy?
I don't know. He's probably picking up Joel the Moose Elber at the airport.
Oh, that could be interesting. Yes, the Moose called in.
He did. He called yesterday. Well, he didn't call in. Just to be clear, he didn't call into the show, but he called. He called Hopwood on his cell phone, and Hopwood said, I'm on the. Oh, actually, I'm not supposed to say Hopwood because it reminds him of his time in the Army. John, but it's just easier to say Hopwood because then everyone knows who I'm talking about because John is such a common name. But then John put him on the speakerphone on his cell phone, and Joel was.
We all got to enjoy his dulcet tones.
Joel
from the
was
beautiful beaches of Florida.
He was very excited to be on the radio for a few minutes.
Maybe he'll come back. Maybe he'll be unleashed.
Maybe it'll be unleashed in the afternoon with Moose and Matt. I mean, I'd prefer it be Matt and Moose, but I've heard that Joel drives a hard bargain. He's a tough negotiator.
Well, I'm not some kid. Well, I'll keep watching.
Okay. All right.
No fun.
Thank you for the call. Bye-bye. All right, so Jenny is, I think she's pretty sincere in her apology for the terrible things that she said about Melania Trump. But anyway, I'm pretty sure that was Melania. It sounded like her to me. It sounded like her angry. Like I just imagine her, I imagine that's how she speaks when she's throwing dishes at the president. You know, in the kitchen one night. You know, she just found out about. A payoff for another woman, and she's like throwing dishes. Or I just like to fantasize about these things. Okay, so getting back to this, thehill.com reports, and this just happened a little bit ago. So this is breaking news, which actually sort of, I mean, yeah, it's a little over an hour old. Should I do the breaking news music? Pete told me how to. You know what? I don't have it queued up and ready though, and I can't remember where it is. Never mind. Pete has some breaking news music that they use for the morning show. Okay, Senate votes to end U.S. support for Saudi war, bucking Trump. And that was bucking with a B. Just want to make sure everyone knows that so I don't get in trouble. The Senate approved a resolution Thursday to end U.S. support for the Saudi-led war in Yemen, dealing a significant blow to President Trump amid heightened tensions over the death of U.S.-based Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Senators voted 56 to 41 on the resolution. I'm actually surprised it was that close. Which would require the president to withdraw any troops in or affecting Yemen within 30 days unless they are fighting al-Qaeda. That's interesting. The resolution would still need to be passed by the House before it could be sent to Trump, who has threatened to veto it, and I assume he will. The House on Wednesday narrowly approved a rule governing debate on the Farm Bill that included a provision that would prevent lawmakers from forcing a war powers vote this year. Still, the Senate vote today underscores the depth of frustration with Saudi Arabia on Capitol Hill, as well as the escalating gap between the White House and Congress on the relationship between the U.S. and the kingdom. Senator Bernie Sanders, independent of Vermont, one of the sponsors of the resolution, told reporters, quote, "I hope we send a loud and powerful message by passing this resolution that we're going to bring peace to that country and that the United States Congress is going to reassert its constitutional authority to make the body that makes war, not the president," unquote. It's a dramatic U-turn from less than 9 months ago when the chamber pigeonholed the exact same resolution, refusing to vote it out of committee and on to full Senate. At the time, 10 Democrats joined 45 Republicans in opposing it. That also kind of surprises me a little bit. The resolution's passage comes less than a day after Trump maintained that he would stand by the Saudi government and specifically Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, or MBS, whom U.S. intelligence officials reportedly believe ordered Khashoggi's killing inside the Saudi consulate in Istanbul in early October. A growing number of senators also believe the Crown Prince is responsible for the death of Khashoggi, who was a vocal critic of Saudi leadership and lived in Virginia while serving as a columnist for the Washington Post. Trump told Reuters on Tuesday that Riyadh has been a very good ally, and at the moment, sticking with Saudi Arabia means standing by the Crown Prince. The Trump administration had led a lobbying effort to try to squash the Senate resolution. In addition to a veto threat, they sent Defense Secretary James Mattis and Secretary of State Mike Pompeo to brief senators and privately urge them to oppose the resolution. The House is expected to get the same briefing on Thursday. And CIA Director Gina Haspel has met with a group of Senate and House lawmakers, but she only appeared to solidify the belief among senators that the Crown Prince is responsible. Aren't you glad you got Gina Haspel confirmed there, Mr. President? Senator Lindsey Graham, Republican of South Carolina, told reporters after the briefing that, quote, "There's not a smoking gun, there's a smoking saw," unquote, tying the Crown Prince to the death. A direct rebuke of Mattis's claim that there isn't a smoking gun linking the Crown Prince. And for those who don't know or may have forgotten, of course, the very punny Senator from South Carolina, Lindsey Graham, saying there's a smoking saw because Khashoggi, I don't even like saying it out loud, but he was apparently dismembered with a bone saw. Backers of the Yemen resolution did lose some GOP support since the initial procedural vote late last month. Some Republicans, like Graham, said they voted initially to advance the resolution because of the message it sent to Saudi Arabia and not because of the substance of the resolution. Foreign Relations Committee Chairman Bob Corker, Republican of Tennessee, said yesterday that he couldn't support the resolution, but, quote, I know that Lee Sanders has the votes. Oh, we have another call. Let's grab this busy day so far. Hi, welcome. Oh, my goodness. Who's this? Yes, that sounds like Melania. Well, now let's.
You call it
Float.
His White House key student. Let's go.
No, FLOTUS is a nice term. It means First Lady of the United States, Melania. It's okay. It's an acronym. Similar to POTUS, but FLOTUS. And Jenny did apologize for calling you that terrible thing.
Oh, Matt.
Are you all right?
Melania's so. Mike, tell me. Sometimes Melania, she gets these words in my English wrong. Right and slow. So, no. Oh.
Did you?
I have to go now. Melania, I performed pole dance on deck number 5.
Oh, very, very good, Melania. All right. There we go. Well, I hope she's, I guess she took offense to the term FLOTUS. It's like she didn't realize what FLOTUS meant. No, it's an acronym. It's fine, Melania. Nothing to be upset about. Let's see. Is there an acronym for talk show hosts? Like what would be a good acronym? Because, obviously, you need an abbreviation that spells out a word. So I don't know. I can't think of anything. Let's see. So there's more to this. It goes on, but that kind of gives you the idea. So I do assume that Trump will veto this if it gets to his desk. But, I'm not a big war guy. Christian Connarton in the Facebook live chat says, hey, it's Miss Piggy. Where's Kermit? I'm not a big war guy, as you may know if you're a longtime listener. So I would rather we not be involved in Yemen and through Saudi Arabia help with the there's just no justification for it. So I think we should be out of there anyway. And the thing is, you can take Jamal. I want to be very careful about how I say this because I don't want to in any way minimize what happened to this journalist. So please let me preface what I'm about to say with that. I don't want anyone to misunderstand and think that I'm minimizing that. Absolutely not. But you could remove Jamal Khashoggi from the equation entirely, and you still have a really terrible, murderous regime, right? They can try to convince us all they want that, MBS is this sort of this revolutionary figure who's modernizing Saudi Arabia, and women can drive now. So see, they've embraced modernity and rights for everyone, and look at how progressive they're becoming. And eventually WWE will do an event there where the women are allowed to perform as well as the men, and all that kind of thing. The reality is, yes, progress is wonderful. And who was it? Tom Freeman, I saw a clip recently where he was talking about his trip to Saudi Arabia and the 4 things he noticed. And did I say Freeman? I meant Friedman. Tom Friedman. He was talking about all the great things that he saw and all the progress and how we need to continue to support that. So as long as they're moving in the right direction, we need to be their ally, which I don't disagree with in principle. But that also doesn't mean See, the problem I have with all of this is really twofold. One is we've already gotten a little too complicit. Let's put it that way. I know Ivanka Trump isn't exactly sure what that means, but we've all been a little too complicit with what they've done by not calling them on anything. But also, too, the way Trump has, and this was my complaint when this whole thing started happening, Trump started saying, well, you know, there's no proof that that MBS knew about this, but even if there is, you know, they're a good ally, and we depend on them to buy weapons from us because that creates jobs, and all this rationalization that just drives me nuts. Because, look, I'm a grown up, and I understand that the tension that exists, this tension that's always been there. There's a tension that exists between, you know, balancing two things, two competing things. Our concern, our alleged concern over human rights, balancing that against our own economic interests. And that's how it's always been to a degree. I understand that. You know, there's always a certain amount of, you could put it a couple of different ways. You could try to put it a little bit positive or a little bit negative. So I suppose if you want to put it a little bit negative, be a little cynical with it, you could say there's always been a certain amount of us looking the other way in favor of our own economic interests, because we have to take care of, ultimately, whatever goes on in the rest of the world. If it's bad, we'll condemn it, but we still have to deal with these people to some degree. And there's also that little rationalization you can throw in about, well, without our involvement, without our engagement, they'll progress even slower. So we might as well deal with them, but it's really about our own economic interests. Now, if you want to try to skew it slightly more positive, you know, then you say, well, you know, we have to be engaged because we have to set the example, you know, what free market capitalism can be, you know, and what democracy can be, and what human rights can be, and how prosperous you can be with that. We need to set the example for these countries, and the only way we can do that is by dealing directly with them, you know. So there's different ways you can kind of look at it and kind of massage it and rationalize it, right, in your own mind and in our own minds collectively as Americans, you know. And that in and of itself, I'm not condemning that, because I understand. Again, I'm a grown-up. I understand living in the real world. You know, that's the relationship that we have with China. You know, China's record on human rights ain't that great. But we're so interdependent with them economically, you know, we can't really afford, you know, to give them the finger and say, we're not dealing with you anymore until you do something about the fact that you have factories in your country where you've had to put up netting around the outside, around the perimeter of the factory, because the conditions are so terrible. You have workers going up on the roofs of these factories and attempting to commit suicide by jumping off. This is true. They've actually put up like trapeze netting on the outside of some of these factories in China, because there's people there. The working conditions are so terrible. The living conditions are so terrible. They have people trying to commit suicide by jumping off the roof. You know? But we can't afford to tell, you know, I mean, we've kind of gradually, incrementally sort of given up over the years, right? Trying to tell China what to do. We just really don't bother at all anymore at this point. I mean, in terms of human rights. In other ways, you know, Trump's got this trade war he's trying to ramp up with China, and, you know, the tariffs and all this kind of stuff. But I'm talking about, you know, and of course, Trump has tried to label them a currency manipulator, even though, as far as I can tell, he's completely alone on that. But anyway, maybe not completely alone, but largely alone on that. But the point being, actually, didn't Trump at one point say, I had labeled them a currency manipulator, but now I realize they're not really because somebody explained to me why they're really not or something. But as far as human rights, we don't lean on them anymore. So I understand that, but you don't just come right out and say it. And that's what Trump has done with Saudi Arabia. He's come right out and told the world, well, if you're buying weapons from us, we're not going to get mad at you because we want you to continue to buy weapons. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed in the Afternoon. Who's this?
Hey, Matt, Mike Doyle.
Hey, Mike Doyle. What's going on?
How you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you?
Good. Hey, I was the one thing that strikes me about this subject, which is a good subject. Well, a couple of things is one, people should probably learn a lesson that if you're a journalist in a foreign country, you really shouldn't be writing very detrimental things about the Crown Prince, who's 400 miles away. And from my understanding, he was writing very nasty stuff about probably truths about what this Crown Prince has done and stuff, but as soon as they had their chance to take him out, they did. But
yeah.
the other straw in the hay that I'm wondering about is...
Can I comment?
Yeah.
Let me, Mike, hang on. Let me comment on that before you go to the next thing. So,
okay.
So I think any journalist, though, should be free to write about whatever they want to. So I don't think he should have censored himself. However, I do think that it was probably he probably shouldn't have. I think maybe he had a little too much trust walking into that consulate. In theory, I mean, just based on simple international law, he should have felt completely free to write whatever he wanted and to walk into that consulate without being murdered. So I don't want to. I don't want to put the. I don't want to put the.
No doubt.
I don't want to put the blame on him.
An MS-13 gang house, you shouldn't be hanging a banner outside your house saying MS-13 sucks and I hate you and
right.
Because you just know you're right. You're probably going to run into. All I'm saying is he poked a cat, so to speak. You know what I mean? And yeah, of course he has the right to say whatever he wants, but you gotta kind of pick your battles, a little bit.
Well,
but,
I disagree.
Deserves to die the way he died. Let's put it that way.
I disagree about the picking your battles part as a journalist, but I think where I would agree is he probably shouldn't have walked into that consulate and expecting to be safe. That's the part where I would be
and
with you.
Nobody brings this up is, technically he wasn't a U.S. citizen.
Doesn't matter.
But, and it seems like the Democrats love to drop in his lap, in Trump's lap, any kind of problem and any kind of issue that. And why wouldn't this be more of a congressional issue than a presidential issue, if they really want to make us think about it? But
I can't imagine
he was living here. He had a residence here,
right?
And he had a green card. He wasn't an actual citizen.
Yeah, that doesn't.
He was on a visa.
That doesn't matter.
So,
as far as I'm concerned, that doesn't matter. It's right is right, wrong is wrong. He should not have been murdered.
Are we supposed to be the policeman for the world? I mean, go to every country that has an atrocity and that does something horrible like this and start saying we're taking you out or we're sanctioning you.
And that's why I was saying I understand. I mean, there's a balance there between our own interests and human rights. But the thing is, though, Mike, honestly, before Trump, I would never have imagined any United States president just coming right out and saying, well, I'm going to choose not to believe this. Because that MBS knew about it because they buy weapons from us, and so because that sends a message that so anyone we do business with, they can do whatever they want, they can murder a journalist or whatever, as long as they're doing business with us, we're cool with it. Now I understand that may be the reality of it because that is to a large extent how the world works. But Mike, don't you think Trump makes a mistake by coming right out and saying it like that? Because that sends a message to everybody, hey, do what you want. As long as we're doing business, your ace is with us. Don't.
Yeah. Well, the part about that's a little offbeat is the fact that you're putting it in the exact same sentencing. The reason I tend not to believe this guy died was because we're having arms with them and we buy oil from them, and so I don't want to believe it. And that's kind of a mischaracterization of what's really going on. He was just saying we have a friendship with them. Until I see, hard proof, actual evidence, and he got it from his CIA. I understand he got evidence to say, there's a 99% chance this is what happened. But again, he was just saying But on the other hand, I've got oil, I've got arms, I've got a good he's helping us in the Middle East a little bit with some of the situations there. I mean, we got a good thing going. So yeah, he was really in a bind. That's a tough spot, right? I mean,
well,
are you gonna tell this guy, screw you? You shouldn't have done that, or
you know what?
He definitely, my feeling is he probably should have come out and just said something. If he just said something to, that was wrong. Don't do it again. We still want to work with you. We don't think it's the right thing. What else can you do? You're not going to arrest them. You're not going to take them out. You're not going to. I mean, what else can you do?
The thing is, if Donald Trump is this brilliant guy, he constantly, like, so many of his wounds are self-inflicted. Like, I don't think it would be so hard for him to, you know what? Hey, I'll tell you what. Here, let me play. I'll sort of play devil's advocate a little bit, but. If this is how Trump really feels and he's so worried about it, call MBS on the phone and say, hey, man, whether you killed that journalist or not, don't matter to me because I want to do business, but I'm not going to go out in front of the world and condone it. At least try to, he came right out and said, he came right out and told the world we do business with them. So I'm going to choose to believe MBS. It's a bad look, Mike.
He didn't really say that. Now, again,
that is what he said.
He said, until I get actual confirmation that this happened, I mean, hard proof, he goes, I just want to, that's what I'm waiting for. He did put that barrier up. And then people jumped right into, he said, and then he mentioned, I'm not going to cut my nose off despite my face because they help us in the Middle East. We have a good relationship with them. We buy oil from them. We sell arms to them. It's one of our partners in the Middle East, and we don't have many. So he was in a bind. He's trying to find that common ground.
No. I think the bind. I think his only bind is that he's shockingly inarticulate and can't figure out how to massage even the slightest bit of diplomatic situation. And and almost anybody could have figured out a better way to put that without looking like he's condoning what they did. But Trump is
like everything else
stunningly
he does,
inarticulate.
In every other subject that he works on, whether it's the wall or whether it's, unemployment or whatever he does, understand he has a team of people. So he has specialists from that he relies on for their advice. And they say, what do we do? People, you guys are just assuming this was 100% Donald Trump alone in his office saying, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to believe it. Don't you think he had advisors, talking about this? Don't you think they beat this around a little bit and said, yeah, this is a tough spot. We're pretty sure he did it, but
I can't imagine.
He was in a pretty tough spot. He
didn't
know,
it's a tough spot, sure.
I understand what you're saying. I understand you're going the morality way, and he's trying to find that balance between morality and a partner in the Middle East.
I think he went too far the other way. I find it hard to believe that anyone in his office was telling him, no, say this, Mr. President.
No, you don't think he had advisors there telling him what they think and what they
I'm sure.
Say, or what how we get out of this or how we deal with this. Or,
and he probably
everybody thinks he just makes all these decisions alone, and they don't realize that.
He probably
didn't.
He probably didn't listen to any of them because this all could have been predicted. Now his own party is against him on this. All these Republicans are saying, no, look, obviously MBS knew. We know that he knew, and we need to be tougher on Saudi Arabia. Like everybody knows it except for him, and this all could have been. This is pretty predictable that this would all unfold the way it is. I find it hard to believe that his advisors didn't know.
Do you think he really doesn't know in the heart of hearts that this happened? You guys are saying he doesn't believe it happened. Do you think he doesn't believe, or he's just trying to make the facade that, this did happen, and this is really going to put me in quite a bind because they were a pretty good partner of ours in that part of the, I'm sure he knows he was in a pickle.
Oh, of course.
He decided to stand up one way or the other. It seems it happens to be the bad way of what most people think should have happened. So, hey, listen, one last thing. I found a good acronym for you. You ready? You may want to.
You got an acronym.
May want to tape this for the beginning of your show.
All right.
I think your good acronym should be McNugget.
Oh boy! All right.
That stands for Matt Connarton. News you get, generally entertaining and tight.
Ooh, okay. I wasn't sure where you were going with that, Mike, but that's good. That's good.
Not bad, huh? Not bad.
I'm going to make a bumper out of that to play at the beginning of the show. That's very good.
News you get, generally entertaining and tight.
Wow. How long did that take you? That could.
I don't know. I was coming back from my acupuncture appointment in Amherst, and I picked you up on the Bedford line. I started listening to you. I heard you talk about POTUS and SCOTUS, and I don't know, it just came to me. I'm thinking Matt Connarton, and I go MC, and I thought McNugget, and then the rest just came to me. So,
I was going to say,
anyways,
you must have thought of that pretty quick, because I just mentioned it a little while ago. No, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good, Mike.
Yeah.
I like it.
Good show. Good show as usual, man.
All right. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it, man.
Later.
All right. Bye-bye. All right. That was Mike Doyle. I like that. That McNugget. I like that. I don't know if I can use it for trademark reasons. I might get sued by McDonald's, but I like it. Not the getting sued part, but all right. So and just to comment quickly. So I get what Mike is saying, and yeah, Trump was in a bind. I mean, that was definitely a terrible bind to be in. But like I said, I just think someone even just slightly more articulate than Trump could have figured out a way to, handle that. But I've always said too, so much of Trump's problems are just self-inflicted, Let's see. Oh boy, it's almost the top of the hour already. Today is flying by. Maybe I'll do one more quick thing here we can hit on, and then we'll take our break at the top of the hour. But I'll be very interested to see where this oh, you know what? Here, this is breaking news. According to Mediaite, oh no, this might get me another phone call from the First Lady from the FLOTUS. According to me, excuse me, I got to fill my water bottle during the break is what I need to do. According to Mediaite, Melania Trump's poll numbers plummet double digits since October. I'm actually surprised by this because I think Melania, however you want to say it, is generally well liked. I mean, I always wonder, does she herself understand the irony of her cyberbullying initiative when she's married to to Trump? But I wasn't expecting. Well, actually, she still has better numbers than her husband, I think. Says here, First Lady Melania Trump's charms are increasingly lost on the American people. If the latest CNN poll is any indication, since October, her favorability rating has dropped 11 points, while unfavorable views of her have increased by 6%. In October, Melania's favorability rating was 54%, but fell to just 43% in the December poll. That number reflects the lowest approval rating for Mrs. Trump since her husband's inauguration, but is an improvement on her pre-inaugural approval rating of 36%. And despite the dip, more people still view her favorably than unfavorably, 43 to 36. Yeah, so technically her numbers are still better than those of her husband. I didn't realize that she had a pre-inaugural approval rating of 36%. Like, I wonder why. What drives that? I'm just trying to remember, is there something she did that offended a lot of people that would cause pre-inauguration, that would cause her to have such a low approval rating? Or I don't know. That's kind of surprising to me. No, I mean, in all seriousness, like, we've had some fun with her and, the calls and everything. But, I mean, the thing of wearing that jacket when she went to visit the kids who were locked up during a previous immigration crisis there, with the separated families. Remember, she wore that jacket that said on the back of it, "I don't really care to you," or whatever it said. That was a very strange choice. I mean, I didn't take it to mean that she didn't care about the kids. I took it as, that's a fashion thing. There's probably a lot of those jackets sold currently, and I don't know anything about fashion. So, so I didn't take it to mean explicitly that she was trying to tell the world, I don't really care, because that'd be really, really bizarre to do that. I know that, but I know some people were very critical of that. I mean, my criticism of her in that case would just be, that does show a stunning lack of common sense to wear something like that. And then Trump said, no, it was referring to the media, which it may have been, but how would you not know that people would not get the joke if it were a joke or whatever it was? Anyway, it says here, by comparison, though, former First Lady Michelle Obama was literally more popular on her worst day than Melania Trump is on her best. Mrs. Obama's approval rating reached as high as 73% in April of 2009 in CNN's poll, but never dipped below 61%. Melania's high watermark in May of this year was 57%. Oh, here we go. It says, since then, she has weathered controversy over her choice to wear a jacket that read, "I don't really care to you," while visiting detained migrant children. Her call for the ouster of now former White House Deputy National Security Advisor Myra Ricardel, and her implementation of a blood-red Christmas hellscape at the White House. Those pictures are pretty chilling of the red Christmas trees. But I don't dislike her for it. I just think it's interesting. It says here, perhaps Mrs. Trump is sensing the drop in her own popularity. The poll came out just hours after Melania granted an interview to Fox News' Sean Hannity. There's no need to panic, however. Michelle Obama left the White House with a 69% approval rating, which gives Melania at least a couple of months to catch up. In all honesty, I've always felt some sympathy for her, but that comes from, I've always had this thing where I don't like seeing women humiliated and embarrassed publicly. It really bothers me. So I'm always really bothered whenever I see, because it happens from time to time. It's nothing new. Whenever you see like a politician giving a press conference addressing an affair that they've had and the humiliation that it's caused their family and whatnot, and then you see the politician's wife standing there next to him, trying to look supportive, trying not to look completely mortified by the situation. And, it's just, and some would say, I know what some would say about that, right? Well, it's her fault for not leaving or whatever. But that's not necessarily easy, and I don't like seeing women in that position, that public humiliation and whatnot. Now, in the case of Hillary, at the time, I absolutely I would apply that to her as well, Hillary Clinton, when she had to go through the public humiliation of all the way back when Bill Clinton was running for president and the Jennifer Flowers scandal happened and all that. Now, some would say to that, well, in the case of Hillary, I mean, we know why she stuck around. It was ambition, because she knew it would eventually be her turn, or at least she thought it would eventually be her turn as far as being president. So maybe one would have less sympathy for her. But really, I don't like seeing women in that position. I really don't. Who was it? Oh, Mark Sanford, when he was, I forget what state he's from now. I'm drawing a blank on what state he's from. But when he was governor of whatever state, and he, and he had been absent, and it turned out, well, he then claimed he was hiking in the mountains or something when he was actually off with his mistress. And, oh, God, I mean, that, don't do that to your family, and don't do that to your wife. That's not okay. Be an adult, have a little bit of impulse control, which apparently extremely powerful men have difficulty with. And don't do that. Don't do that to your family. just don't do it. Anyway. All right, let's take a break. It is the top of the hour. You're listening to Matt Connarton, Unleashed in the Afternoon. We are live on WMNH 95.3 FM. And we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Hello, I'm Donald Trump, and it's the year 2046. And in light of my 100th birthday year, I thought it would be sensational if I did a Draw My Life. I was born into a humble little family in Queens. Both my parents barely had the means to feed us rice and beans. In my teens, I was the leader of a gang to do some good, and the people soon would know me as the New York Robin Hood. Then one fateful night, my father was just walking down the street, and he happened on a duffel bag abandoned at his feet. And within that bag, he found something that still gives me the chills. My dad was thrilled to find it filled up with $1 million bills. It was huge! In his wisdom, Daddy gave the $1 million straight to me, 'cause he knew that in my big hands was the safest it could be. Now I wanted to buy property to help my wallet fatten, something perfect for construction land I wouldn't have to flatten. So I bought an island from the engines and I called it Manhattan. Because I'm Donald Trump, the one, the Donald Trump. I'm worth a huge, huge sum. Please rise for Donald Trump. I'm the best. That's all there is to it. Then my friends all came to me to seek advice or to be blessed, and I realized it was wrong to keep this hidden from the rest. So I started a TV show where my brilliance could be shared, and of course it was the hugest show that ever had been aired. People couldn't get enough of me with ratings off the charts, but I soon got bored and quit the show, which broke 1 billion hearts. There were riots in the streets as people begged me to come back. Every citizen believed that I could set things back on track. But they didn't simply want me as an icon on the screen. People knew I was the greatest leader that had ever been. The entire country came and started banging at the gates, demanding Trump be their next president of these United States. Because I'm Donald Trump, the one, the Donald Trump. I'm worth a huge, huge sum. Please rise for Donald Trump. As the president, I made our country's problems go away, building walls and making sure that only Mexico would pay. I got bored and started thinking like a true entrepreneur. I had made America great again, so why not go greater? So I had us hop across the wall, invading all below. All of South America welcomed me, not one of them said no. We felt bad about our neighbors up in Canada, and so we invaded there as well, and so America did grow. But then countries around the world began to see how great I was. They were jealous and insisted that they join me in my cause. The entire planet came and finally realized what I'm worth, and so elected me to be the only president of Earth. Because I'm Donald Trump, the one, the Donald Trump. I'm worth a huge, huge sum. Please rise for Donald Trump. As the president of Earth, I ended poverty and crime. All humanity had never seen a more sensational time. But like always, I, the Trump, am never satisfied or done. So I set my sights up high towards the planets and the sun. With my Trump spaceships and rockets, I took over all of Mars. And I plan to still expand and win the war for all the stars. It's been quite a life so far, but this is only just the start. If my scientists do their part, I will never go away. No, the Trump is here to stay. I will never die. No goodbye. Please applaud. I'll be God. Can't be topped. Won't be stopped. China, 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 China. Because I'm Donald Trump, the one, the Donald Trump. I'm worth a huge, huge sum. Please rise for Donald. I'm the Donald. Yes, the Donald. Donald Trump.
Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Matt Connarton, Unleashed in the Afternoon. We are live on WMNH 95.3 FM, emanating from downtown Manchester, New Hampshire. Streaming at WMNHradio.org. Of course, we're on Channel 97 Comcast if you're in Manchester, and on Facebook via Facebook Live on the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page. And I have an announcement to make, a little bit of a programming note. Tomorrow on the show, we're going to be debuting another diss track. Oh, yes, I know you love the diss tracks, but not from M. Sizzle this time. No, M. Sizzle, he's taking a break But Slicko, of course, and if you're a longtime listener, you're familiar with Slicko. He has participated in this program on many, and actually he's never been live in the studio with us since I started doing the show here at WMNH, but he's called in many times. And tomorrow here on the show, we're going to be debuting his new diss track about his stalker. Ooh, very interesting. He is being stalked, my friends. Yes. Well, he is a big celebrity. So we're going to debut that tomorrow on the show. He actually just sent it to me, and I'm not going to play it today because it might need a little bit of editing for the radio, for FM radio. So I was just asking him, though, online if he can call in to talk about it ahead of playing it tomorrow. So we'll see. We'll see if he's able to. He might still be at work, but he did send me the track, so very exciting. And I just saw something that caught my eye that I really wanted to talk about because, where did it go? Something, actually, we might have to come back to that because I was looking at a few different things and I think I closed that window. Yep, now I can't find it. I lost it. And I don't want to say what it was because then you'll all be like, "Aw, we wanted to hear about that." Oh well. All right. So we'll move on to something else because there is much going on in the world. According to Reuters, there's a flurry of Democrats who are expected to end the 2020 race in the coming weeks. So the race for president is on. Now, I mean, in some ways it begins almost as soon as the previous one ends, right? But who will get in? Now, before I look at this article, because there's some names in here, but what I'm very interested to see is, does Hillary Clinton decide to take one more bite at the apple? I think there's a chance it happens. I think Bernie Sanders definitely running. I think he's all but announced, or he may have even made an announcement now that I'm thinking about it. He'll be the fresh new face of the Democratic Party in 2020. We know who is not running, Michael Avenatti, who Tucker Carlson refers to as the creepy porn lawyer. He apparently is not running for election in 2020. And I know who else is not running, by the way, because I've just gotten a text message from Mr. John Hopwood. Joel the Moose Elber will not be running because John says Joel Elber is missing. And it's missing without the G and with the apostrophe, which is why I'm pronouncing it missing. I hope that's not true. I hope it's a gag because I would hate to think that the moose is loose out in the wild. All the things that could happen to him. There's hunters out there. You got to be careful. So, because John was supposed to be picking up the moose at the airport today. So hopefully he's not really missing. Maybe he just wandered off, you know. So Michael Avenatti, boy, that guy really kind of flamed out, didn't he? And I guess I'm not completely surprised because Michael Avenatti, and it looked like he was definitely running. He did announce that he was exploring a run for the presidency, and I forget if he had been here to New Hampshire, but he did go to Iowa and gave a big speech. And I always say, look, you don't go to Iowa just to look at cornfields, right? If someone's spending time in Iowa, no offense if there's any Iowans who happen to be listening online, but you don't go to Iowa to look at corn. So you don't go to Iowa. Oh, good. I think Slicko's going to be able to call in about 15 minutes. Here, let me type the number in case he doesn't still have it, 25. I should give the number out to you guys again. It's 603-250-6007 if you'd like to call today, 603-250-6007. I would love to hear your dulcet tones.
We're just about ready to have the phone go ding-a-ding.
Yes, and so would the people's mayor. So, Michael Avenatti apparently now he's had a falling out. Not only is he not running for president, he had the, he had that domestic abuse charge against him, or that arrest. But that seemed to have been debunked rather quickly. he seemed to be exonerated quickly, and I'm not sure exactly. And then he's blaming the guy, what's his name? The guy from Surefire Intelligence, blaming him for setting him up or whatever. So, but even that aside, he's got this other problem now. His own client, Stormy Daniels, apparently very upset with him for because Stormy Daniels lost her lawsuit against Trump and now has been ordered by the courts to pay Trump's legal fees in that matter. And I guess she owes Avenatti money and for his legal fees. And it's just, so the guy, it's like the guy just imploded. I mean, for a while, my prediction for a long time it had nothing to do with him running for president. I thought he was going to end up with his own show on MSNBC. I mean, he might as well have, because he was there every night for a long time, and he made all these promises and all this bluster about he's going to bring down Trump, and he's got even more damaging stuff on Michael Cohen that Robert Mueller doesn't have. And, and the guy seemed like he was, he's got a certain charisma about him and whatnot. So, it seemed like he probably would have a shot at winning the Democratic nomination. But although there's a lot of stuff I read online that suggests some shady dealings in the background, and at this point he appears to have completely imploded, and he says, nope, never mind, I'm not running. So I don't know, and I don't see him getting booked now on the cable news shows, but I don't know if he's trying to go on to the cable news shows either. And he might be laying low. So anyway, Michael Avenatti, we know, is not running. Elizabeth Warren looks like she is running. Cory Booker, most likely running, senator from New Jersey. Kamala Harris, senator from California, almost definitely running. I'm pretty sure that's a done deal. But who else might be? There might be someone in here I'm not thinking. Oh, and of course, Uncle Joe Biden, who I was sure, he's fooled us before. I was sure that Joe Biden was running in 2016 because on the eve, practically, of him making his announcement on the White House lawn that he was, in fact, definitely not running, there were all kinds of hints. But it looks like he might be getting in 2020. So anyway, so it says here, again, this is from Reuters, a rush of Democrats will likely announce U.S. presidential bids in January in an unusually early start to the 2020 election cycle, lining up for what is poised to be a crowded race to take on President Trump. Democrats are riding a wave of enthusiasm after taking control of the House of Representatives in last month's congressional elections, which were viewed as a referendum on Trump. But the party has no clear presidential frontrunner for the first time since the 2004 campaign. Party insiders expect between 6 and 10 candidates to launch exploratory or formal White House bids next month, with the eventual field of Democratic contenders swelling to as many as 20, according to interviews with nearly a dozen senior Democratic strategists. During the 2016 presidential race, Democratic candidates Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders waited until April of 2015 to announce their White House bids, although in the case of Hillary Clinton, everybody knew she was running before she made the announcement. Clinton went on to secure her party's nomination. Political strategists say Democratic hopefuls were likely to enter the fray sooner in the 2020 election cycle, in part because candidates will be jockeying to hire the best staffers and secure the best local endorsements in states that hold the first nominating contests like Iowa and New Hampshire, where wins can generate early momentum. A good showing in the first fundraising quarter of 2019 would give lesser-known candidates the chance to place media ads and hold events to introduce themselves to voters. All right, I'm looking for names. I'm going to skip down here. Okay, here we go. Here's the paragraph with the names. Politicians said to be considering 2020 campaigns include former Vice President Joe Biden, U.S. Senators Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren, Kirsten Gillibrand, Amy Klobuchar, Bernie Sanders, Sherrod Brown, and Cory Booker, and current and former mayors like Eric Garcetti in Los Angeles and Michael Bloomberg in New York, and former candidate for county treasurer John Hopwood. I didn't know that you were running. Is Joel really missing? John Hopwood is here in the studio and says Joel the Moose Elber is missing, and he's carrying... Hang on, let me turn your mic on. Slicko's going to be calling in soon, by the way. Remember our friend Slicko? What are you carrying? What is that?
This is all that was on the plane.
What is it?
I don't know. It says tiger.
Tiger? But Joel's a
tiger.
moose. Joel's a moose.
It's a Russian word.
Oh.
For the steppe.
The steppe?
I wonder what's in here.
Now open it. Why don't you open it? I hope it's not the remains of the moose.
There were reports that Kelly Ayotte got him on a plane ride from the executive branch, but I think that was just not nonsense.
What is that? A flashlight?
It's a mag light.
Is that one of those LED flashlights that are very, very bright?
No, this is a cop one.
So you have ways.
As a cop comes up to you,
right?
Not any of our local police,
right? Yes.
And then if you
they hit you with it. That's right. Yes.
Oh man.
They beat you with it, especially if you're unarmed. Did I say that? I didn't say that. That was a joke. Ooh, careful. What else is in there? So this was left on the plane where Joel's seat was? A bone saw? That's this is horrifying and extremely distasteful. And a hatchet. Well, oh my goodness.
What are we to make of it, Matt? Did you send a diss track out on Joel?
I did not. I would not. I would never.
You knew he was coming to arrest you.
I would never diss the moose, Inspector Elber.
I gave you the inside tip that the warrant, he spelled the name wrong.
Yes, which was a big relief. Yes.
Jaxie.
Right. I appreciate having my Jaxie saved.
What's this?
I don't know. What is it?
I don't know. Do we have any of the special secret Dakota glasses still here?
I don't know. I have no idea.
You can go on with the show.
Yes. I don't know.
Can we have a broadcast? It's APB bulletin.
It's very hard to go on knowing that Joel the Moose Elber is apparently missing. But we know where he was yesterday. He was calling you live. Oh, hello to Ben Dion, who joins us in the Facebook live chat. Ben Dion, of course, host of the Weekly Dion, which you can hear coming up tonight at 6 p.m. immediately following this program. And fortunately, if Ben does need to use the restroom, he'll be able to because Mr. Hopwood did return the bathroom key.
But you are a snitch.
I know. Yes, I am. Yes. I'm glad you brought it back. I would have been here doing the pee-pee dance right now.
What's the PB dance?
No, the pee-pee dance.
Oh, number one?
Yeah. All right, so you've got the special American glasses on. But that says something.
It's a message from Joel.
There's a message from Joel on there. Whoa.
How was I to know Shirley was with the Russians too?
Oh my goodness! Wow.
What does that mean?
I don't know. This is frightening. Well,
that ends the Inspector Elba franchise even before.
Well, it's tragic. Let's see who's on the phone. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed in the afternoon. Who's this?
Hey, Matt, Mike Doyle. Two quick things.
Yes.
Right after I give you that nice acronym, you cite a CNN poll, a Clinton News Network poll that Melania's numbers are down. And I did see it online, but I'm going, come on. Can that poll be any more swayed?
But I did express sympathy for Melania.
Melania?
Yeah, I know, but I mean, look who took the poll. CNN. I hate Trump, and I hate anything to do with Trump. And I mean, you know what I mean? But anyways, hey. And
is Mike Doyle? Is that Mike Doyle?
Oh, sorry. John Hopwood is here, and he just now.
Do you know anything about Joel's disappearance?
My quick take on the president you were talking about, who's running for president and the Democrat again?
Yes.
No need reading the list. Hillary's coming back.
You think so?
She's gonna, and nobody's gonna run it. She's gonna clear the field. The only one that might give her a shot is Bernie, because he should have beat her last time.
Who's this talking?
And if she didn't pull the election out from under his feet, he'd be our president right now. I truly believe that. Because he'd have his votes, half of her votes, and then all of the no Trumper votes, right? And he probably would have beat Trump, and he'd be our president right now.
I think that's very possible. But so so your money's on Hillary. You think she's going to run again?
My money's on Hillary.
Wow.
Even though she's doing this book tour. Why else would you set a book tour right after the mid elections with your husband who you despise and don't even live with, and do a book tour that's in 20,000-seat arenas where they're only selling 3,000 tickets at half price, and outdoors they're giving away tickets for $1. Why would you put yourself through that if you weren't trying to set your mark on the next run? She can't get over one thing. She wants to be the first female president. That's it.
It could be. It could be.
It's as simple as that.
I'm not convinced that she's going to run again, but I won't be shocked either. I think there's a chance. I think your theory could be right.
Yeah, no doubt. And Avenatti, he's out. He's a mess. He's in debt up to his neck. If you go online, he owes everybody. He owes from rent and back suits, and the estimates say he's anywhere between 12 and 15 million in the negative.
Yeah.
And
He
now
seems
he's
to
chasing
have
money. Now he's got to come up with some money for Stormy to pay off $300,000 in Trumpy things for that lawsuit that didn't go so well. So he's a mess. He's a really good ambulance chaser. That's what he is.
Yeah, he seems to have imploded. That's for sure.
Yeah. So, anyways, hey, good show, McNugget. See ya.
All right, Mike. Thank you. All right, Mike Doyle leaves us. That opens up a line for you, 603-250-6007. Sorry I had to mute you, John, but I was interested in what Mike had to say.
Falls.
What?
What were you? That was Mike Doyle?
That was Mike Doyle.
Why didn't you ask him where Joel Elber is?
Well, you asked him, and he had no information.
Joel Elber, a staunch Democrat, a supporter of, I don't know who.
Well, I hope you're not.
Wasn't Trump.
I hope you're not suggesting that Mike had something to do with the disappearance of
Was
of
that
Joel.
blood on that axe?
Oh, clearly. It's covered in blood. It's dripping. You just...
Oh, the horror.
Now, my only concern about that being it's staining the carpet.
Am I bald enough to, like, Brando in Apocalypse Now?
You know, now that you've dripped blood on the carpet, there's going to be a no hatchet rule in the studio. You realize that, right?
How many weeks do I get suspended this time?
I don't know. No, there'll just be a rule. No more hatchets in the studio.
What are we going to do? Shirley turned out to be a Devishka. Excuse me. Devachka is a naughty word.
Oh.
That's the way you pronounce it.
Oh, okay.
Devishka would be a young woman.
Devishka.
Devachka means...
Devishka sounds like something you get at the bakery or something, like at Bill's Donuts. Can I have a Devishka?
Stormy Daniels is a Devachka.
Did you say Stormy Daniels? Stormy? Is that how you say it in Russian?
Oh, whenever I go into my mode, I start speaking German. The German.
That's really strange.
I was quite a linguist.
So to speak German, you just talk like this?
It's very easy, you know.
Wow, okay.
It's choose the thing.
Uh-huh.
Language is matter.
Sure. Ach Beigen, man Freigen. That's the only German I know.
Yeah.
Ach Beigen.
Yeah. It's good, yeah.
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah.
That almost sounds Swedish.
Swedish, yeah. It's just a matter of the accent.
Oh, that sounds even more Swedish.
Ooh, yeah. Oh, they do yeah, too. Yeah. Yeah. Melania? What's this about Melania?
Wait.
She's been...
Well, we got to go back to the Joel
She's
thing
not
for a minute.
involved in Joel's disappearance, is she?
I have a question. Where is Shirley?
What do you think he meant by... How was I to know that Shirley was with the Russians, too? Sounds kind of like a lyric. How was I to know she was with the Russians too? Isn't that send lawyers guns and money?
Well, that's a parody
called... it must be a clue.
It's a parody called His Lawyer Bummed Some Money.
It must be Inspector Elber at work, don't you think?
I'm very confused.
Well, he was disappointed when he found out he couldn't arrest you today.
Right.
You know, Connarton and Connarton are two different names.
Right.
It's hard for Joel sometimes to understand.
Yes. Well, they both have consonants and vowels.
Mm. Oh, you're a clever one.
Yes.
Consonants, vowels.
They do. No, that's actually true if you think about it. So do we know where Shirley is? Was Shirley on the plane?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
You still have your Cupid's bow of hair on top of your gulliver.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, your kopf.
My coif?
Kopf. You have a coif on your kopf.
Oh, right.
So what's been going on besides Joel Elber missing? I hear the Dion's missing.
No, they're not
run
here yet.
around Sue?
I think they're the Dions. You're confusing the Dions with the Dions. But
the Dion quintuplets or quintuplets or quadrupeds. No, there's a concept. Brings you right back to the patriarchy.
Slicko.
I heard
it
the
might
name
be
Slicko.
might be calling because tomorrow on the show we're going to debut Slicko's new diss track.
Is he going to diss Glenn, RJ, OJ?
Who? No one would ever diss Glenn except MC Hammer because they're
DJ
beefing.
Glenn OJ.
No, Slicko.
Oh, speaking of the Dions or the Dions.
I believe it's pronounced Dion. But I only say that because that's how Ben pronounces it. So who really knows?
Do you have like 2 generations out, like 5 simultaneously born aunts and uncles from up in Canada?
Yeah, probably not.
They're not the
Statistically,
they're
that's
not
unlikely.
The Dions.
Right. They're the Dions. Yes. But
I'll have to remember that.
Slicko has recorded a new diss track about his stalker. He's being stalked.
Is that the guy that serves his country by working at Wimpy's?
Oh, no, it's a female. No, you're thinking
Well,
of
that's a step up.
You're thinking of Sean Michelonis, who serves our brave men and women by
we
working
had
at,
him,
working
we
at
had him
Blimpies
on the
yes.
TV.
Yes.
That was
those were the days. Those were the days.
I was your guest then, so I had to keep my trap shut.
Yes.
Mostly, it's like okay.
Right.
Well, he's done more than Donald Trump for our servicemen and women.
Oh my goodness!
Is that a diss?
Wow.
How
Yes.
come there's no sibilance trap here?
Only 2 of the mics in the studio have processors. This one and the one at the desk, at the news desk.
So you have to have a sibilance shield on a processor-equipped mic?
Something like that.
Is there a word with sibilance
you're
for
not.
microphone?
I'm sorry, you're not talking about the processor, are you? You're talking about the shield.
Shield.
Yeah, you're right. That's the
There's
only mic
4
that.
shields.
You're right. That's the only mic that doesn't have
Is
one
that
of those.
the one that makes me sound?
What's I don't know what you mean.
Well, there are limits to the First Amendment.
Right, there certainly are.
What
Yes.
are you doing tonight? You have the senses of a hound dog, a good sense of smell. Could you help me track Joe? I know you're putting yourself in jeopardy since he's vowed to arrest you.
I'm not much of a tracker because of my my sinus issues. I can't smell very well.
That still makes you better than any human being.
Well,
If we
that's
can
true.
Use that patriarchal word.
That's very true. Yeah, that's a good point.
Human. What's the root of human? Male patriarchy.
That's true, as it should be. As it should be.
It's a shame.
Yes. Well,
We have to speak such a sexist language.
well. I mean, it's
Hegemony.
some would say it's a man's world,
It's a man's man.
but you're not supposed to say that anymore.
That was James Brown before he became respectable.
Right. You're really far from the mic. Why don't you have your headphones on? Why'd you take your headphones off?
Because I'm listening.
Oh. Oh. All right.
Hey, what time is it?
Oh, it's about 5:30. 5:32.
When does the
PM.
district court close?
I don't know.
You've never been arraigned on a misdemeanor or felony? Or...
I can't say that I have.
What Yeti hasn't?
I'm
gone
so.
with Carmen jail?
I always say I'm so clean. I'm boring.
And you claim your only time incarcerated has been in dog pounds or in animal shelters, both public and private, and that gave you a sense of the libertarian ethos?
Is that a reference to? Is that like a Phil Griazzo reference or something?
No, that you're a stinking dog like Yeti.
I was thinking of the dog park.
Oh, geez, I haven't thought about that in years.
I thought that's where you were going with that. I wasn't sure.
I have
don't
actually
know.
been poring over that stuff, but
Oh, good. Wow.
But that's for a different.
That
reason.
sounds exciting. Yes. Yeah. I still haven't heard from Dr. Jeff Cassell. I was thinking he might call in yesterday since he was on your television program the other night. I'm very jealous. I feel spurned that he has not graced my presence, but apparently he will. He was my friend first.
How do you, Cassell? Do you think Joel could go before a magistrate and correctly spell that name? Because maybe you'll get a reprieve that way.
Why would I get a reprieve?
He might spell it Castle.
What is Joel trying to arrest me for? Inspector Elber, I should say. What is he trying to arrest me for?
Unspecified high and low crimes.
Oh, that's the worst.
Plus, and it is a plus sign.
That's the worst.
Plus, even though the numbering system, as we well know, having been schooled on this, when we went through the liberal indoctrination that allowed us to be on public radio.
Yes.
Numerals strictly. What do they call it? What did they call it? Patricist? It sounded like some, Canadian organization.
I hate Canadian organizations.
They celebrate St. Patrick's Day up in Canada, don't they?
Do
What
they?
is it, St. Patrice or something?
St.
Santa
Patrice. Oh, that sounds. That sounds feminine.
Do they celebrate St. Patrick's Day in Canada?
Why do you assume Darryl Dion would know that?
I don't know.
Is he Canadian? Oh, because he's French.
I'm part French too. French Canadian. I don't like Franco-American.
Right. Yes.
Sounds like spaghetti. Like cheap spaghetti.
It actually does.
Canned
Yes.
goods.
Yes, it does. Yes,
oh
it does.
well, Joel's missing, and we got to find him.
So, did you? So you don't know where Shirley is either.
I think she's with the Russians.
Okay. Well,
disappointing. Isn't it?
That is disappointing. By the way, they've narrowed it down to 5 people for Trump's for the White House Chief of Staff job, and I don't
hear you got caught lying.
About what?
About Scumpy lipping. Is it lipping or licking your stamp? I'm never quite sure if that's Stumpy, whether it's a licking or lipping. He is a musician after all. They have to have
you
what do
lick
they call the stuff
stamp.
where you have to build up when you play the horn?
Saliva?
It's not an
I don't know
armature,
what-
because that would be like something you put a...
I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know what you're
when
thinking
you
of.
play a trumpet, you have to build up the muscles and everything here. And they have a word for it. It's not armature, because that's what you put like a clay statue.
I don't know
on
what that
right
is
now.
either.
Yeah.
But if you lose it,
action, you have to have some
Mm.
strength in your. Well, for me, it was the lips.
You're really far away from the mic, Darryl. We can barely hear you.
you're old enough to remember Al Hurt and him being famous.
Oh,
And
yeah.
somebody had hit him in the mouth, and it took him a long time.
Oh, really?
To get that back. Yeah, because he's from New Orleans, and all hell can break loose.
New Orleans.
Wherever French people are, there's a lot of fun.
That's a stereotype. How
no
dare
Puritanism.
you? That's a terrible stereotype.
No St. Patrick.
I've known plenty of French people who are no fun at all. How dare you?
Saint Patrice.
I have as well.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, in Quebec, there is no Santa Claus. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
It's some fellow traveler named Pierre Noel. I found that out from
really
DJ Glenn Oja.
Wow.
We just saw him in the elevator.
You saw DJ Glenn Oja?
Yeah, he had a Santa Claus hat on and everything.
You mean a Pierre Noel?
Yeah, he said
he's
Santa
going
Claus.
undercover again?
He said that it was Santa Claus, and he said that Mrs. Claus was upstairs as well.
Oh, Scumpy's coming into this again, isn't he?
I don't think he meant Scumpy.
Oh, you didn't listen to the show yesterday with Scumpy with all
No.
his parody songs.
Yes,
You can't
it's-
repeat anymore.
No.
I
Did
can
you
take the
those
beef.
out of the
No,
show?
Scumpy was on last night.
He called in.
He called in.
He was on 2 days ago. I lose track. It's all a blur.
I think it was yesterday, and he admitted to creating very disrespectful songs about Mrs. Claus.
Yes, back. Well, apparently Scumpy had song parodies played on the Howard Stern show back in was it '92? I think he said.
About 1992, the year
Long
Bill
time.
Clinton
Cut it out.
Yeah.
I had
I
to
did not know that.
Yes.
handle the bimbo eruption known as Jennifer Flowers
Mhm.
during the New Hampshire primary.
Yes.
And he survived.
Yes, he did. He was the comeback kid.
Oh.
Yes. That's what he said in his big speech.
So, did you say that Sean Mikolopoulos, whatever the guy that used to be on a show, that Slicko used to be Slicko's nemesis, is running for president this time?
I think so. Yeah. And then Slicko's gonna write a new
He
diss
did?
track about him. Yeah.
Now, is he just going the route of collecting signatures because he has a limited income?
Oh, right. At Blimpies.
Maybe that's about some more Malfi.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. what's
Long
going on.
memories here at the studio.
Yes, indeed. What's going on?
Do you have any
what?
comment about the coiffeur on top of his
The
cuff?
what?
See the it's
oh,
a
I see
coiffeur.
I see what you mean. Yes, my hair's
He calls it
sticking
his
up.
Cupid's bow because he has a mandible. He doesn't have a jaw and lips technically.
Right. Yeah. As a Yeti, that's true. Yeah. But I can still play a trumpet.
You can.
Do you play the trumpet?
No. But I can if
He
I
could.
want to.
He could.
Yetis can do anything humans can do.
Absolutely.
Yes. What do you have
can't
going
whistle.
on the show tonight? That's true. I can't.
Tonight we have on Matt Corshane from the Hope program.
Mm.
We're talking about that a little bit. Talk about the school board meeting this past week.
Oh.
And yeah,
Good
great,
luck.
great conversation.
Very, very, very exciting. We have a call.
That's something.
Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed in the Afternoon. Who's this?
Matt Connarton, it's Slicko.
Slicko, how are you, sir?
Keep it clean, Slicko.
Oh, he knows. He knows.
Oh, yep. No, I forgot. Day show. I'm doing pretty good. I went over to Lit Studios the other day with Lendy.
Yeah.
Great. We're over there, recorded a new track.
Glendy?
No,
Frankly,
Lendy.
the radio stations are blowing up right now. They're all calling me.
Wow.
And I told them all the same thing. Matt Connarton gets the first plug.
That's right. Yes. Thank you. Yeah. So you. So tomorrow we're going to premiere the radio edit of your new diss track about you. So you have a stalker, as I understand it.
And it's a very special.
Yeah, we can't. Don't use the S word. She might be listening.
Stalker.
I have a person who, after I've blocked their phone number and all of their social media accounts several times because they keep making new ones.
Yes.
Sounds like being
still
involved in politics here in Manchester.
For ID. Call it what you want to call it.
So we'll say she's a very enthusiastic friend.
Very, very, very much so.
Yes.
That's a good way of putting that.
And biggest fan, definitely.
Yes. Wow.
We can refer to her as Lauren.
Okay.
And yeah, so
Not-
there's a lot of tracks that have been coming out lately.
Lauren.
Fifi, BB, they're all like girl names. It's like code for these girls that these guys are rapping about. So I
Code.
think Lauren would work good.
Okay. So
So we're trying to push that.
so that's not her real name, obviously.
Oh, it's the name she used on the last Snapchat account that she
Oh, okay.
Can I ask?
for a couple days on.
Is he sure of her gender? Or her?
Of
you know,
what?
Of her gender.
Oh yeah, trust me, I'm very sure of the gender.
Well, there are 7 here at WMNH.
Wow.
Some people get
Bro,
fooled.
we gotta keep it clean here.
I didn't know we had 7 genders right here at the station. That's remarkable.
Well, on the 4th floor.
Oh, okay. Right. Well, that's not WMNH.
I think he's just
not?
mixed, right?
What's that? What's Slicko?
I identify as Slicko.
Slicko.
Right. You're your own
Not
thing.
male, not female.
An
I
eighth gender.
identify as Slicko.
Yes.
It's my gender.
Yes. I think that's great.
As far as I know, I'm the only one.
Well, as far as you know,
And
there
then
may.
Trump wrote me this letter talking about I can't identify as Slicko. I have to identify as... I don't know.
Maybe
I haven't gotten into the paperwork. It's over at the lawyers.
this so-called woman couldn't be Sean from Blimpies? With a persona? New persona change. Or sex change?
Mr. Nicolanus.
Yes.
He's questionable. he identifies as donuts.
Oh, okay.
He did
I haven't
serve
seen him
his
much
country.
lately. I was hoping he was going to run this year.
He's running for
I
president.
Could, do another campaign spree for him.
He's going for president, Slicko.
Yes, he's going to be a
Oh, is
candidate
he?
for
Is he?
president. Yes, it's going to be very
Him-
exciting.
Him and
class.
that security guard that we had on the show. As soon as that whole mess got taken over, he changed his Facebook profile, and he said he was running.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. He got whipped.
I won't
He
drop
got
his
whipped.
name. He means well. He just
He does. Underneath it all, he's got a heart of gold.
he does. He does.
Yes.
It's a lot of layers, but
Yes. Yes. So
so yeah, we got this new track. It's out now, but the radio edits are the best. So
yeah.
I told all the radio stations. I had Howard Stern calling me.
Of course.
I had Shady called me. He was like, "Yo, can we get it on?" And I'm like, "Listen, Matt gets the first pull. Yes, calm it down."
Thank you. As
So,
it should be. As it should be.
I mean, as it should be. We started together. I figured I'd give you the pump.
Yes.
That's
yes.
why you're up there in the charts on PM Nation with
Is
the
that
show.
code?
What was that?
Hopwood was asking if that's some sort of code. The pump.
It could be.
Yes. Yes.
Could be.
Right.
Could be. So yeah, I got G Cassidy on the track. He's back. We got a little auto tune in there. Very great. It's a great song. I don't know if you listened to it yet, but
No, I've been on the air. But
it's gonna be fire.
but-
It's gonna be fire. I don't know if you caught a commercial real quick. Peeked it. Slicko's World. We're gonna do it Saturday morning. So you get the first cut on Friday. We'll play it Saturday morning, probably like 6 times.
Oh, wow.
On my show. slicko.org. Catch that on 10 o'clock when I wake up, sometimes noon. I try and shoot for 10, but Fridays are rough. And then hopefully, I haven't talked to him over at the other radio station, WSCA radio in Portsmouth.
Yeah.
So we'll probably have him play it Saturday as well. I might do an appearance over there. I got some time coming off here soon, so maybe we should do a show, Matt. I'll keep it clean. I'll brush my teeth really good before I come in, and maybe I'll do your show Christmas week sometime in that week. I got the whole week off.
Well, unfortunately, Christmas week we're off as well, so I won't be here Christmas week.
Oh,
we're boycotting.
You gonna do all reruns?
Yeah, but you're welcome anytime. I mean, anytime that I'm on the air, if you have a day off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we gotta link that up. I had fun the last time I came there. We did a TV show. It was great.
Yeah, you've never been on the on the WMNH version of the program, so it'd be really fun to have you here.
No,
I mean,
not yet.
you've never
first
been.
Time for everything.
Yes. Very good. Well, Slicko, we do have to get ready to wrap up in a moment. So, but I'm looking forward to playing. What time should I play it tomorrow during the show? Like, when will you be in a place where you can tune in?
4:40. Oh, 4:20.
Is that what you said?
Yeah, I said 4:20.
At 4:20?
4:20.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do it at 4:20. I think that'll be the best. I'll take a break work.
Yeah.
All
right.
Up so I can get the 4:20 break, and yeah, we'll play it then. And I'm psyched because I know how many people are going to listen to that tomorrow. So you can go download the track, but don't even go
Me
listen
and
to
Matt.
it, guys. If you're listening to this right now, don't even listen to it till it airs tomorrow, and then you can go download it.
That's right. All right, Slicko.
And then I'll send you the track too, so you can put it on IPM, and we can get that top in the charts.
Perfect. You got it, brother. All right, Slicko. So we'll let you go for now, but I'm gonna, as soon as I get off the air, I'm gonna give this a listen. And
you just heard the kid, 369. 369. Tray weight.
He just had a birthday, right?
Take care.
All right, Slicko. Take care, my friend. Bye-bye.
I'm not going to ask about that.
All right, so that was Slicko. So we're going to debut his new track tomorrow here on the show at 4:20 p.m.
He's a very privileged young white male. He's bumped Hillbilly Jim's debut of the VA Blues.
Yes. Did you gentlemen hear John Hopwood's performance yesterday?
Well, that wasn't Hillbilly Jim.
Or Hillbilly Jim?
I did not know.
No, that wasn't Hillbilly. Oh, he humiliated me yesterday publicly.
He sang
on radio.
He sang,
which is difficult to do.
And he yodeled.
Really?
On the air.
Wow.
Yes, on the air. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
It's very exciting. Very exciting.
Yeah, I missed it.
Yeah. Well,
I'm gonna have to
lucky you.
go listen to that later on.
That's right.
Maybe I'll clip it and play it on my show.
So you could, yes.
You didn't isolate the track.
Yes.
You lied to me.
No, I did. It's up on YouTube.
You humiliated me and then lied to me.
It's on YouTube, and I tagged you in the post.
Daily Double.
What?
That's right.
I'll help you. Develop this song, and he just sits there.
I tried to help.
And then he says, "I'm not a DJ."
I was very encouraging and nurturing. I told you you sounded. I told you you have a golden throat. He does. A golden throat.
Not a silver tongue.
Not a silver tongue, but a golden throat. It's as though he gargled with honey, and his voice is smooth.
I'll gargle you with the bone saw if you don't shut your mandibles.
Oh my goodness, he's threatening me here. He has a bone saw and a hatchet and everything. All right, so we're gonna.
It's not mine.
Well, yes, he found it. It's what appears to be left of Joel the Moose Elber. Did you guys hear yesterday? Joel made his Inspector Elber. Yes, made his return to WMNH yesterday.
Did he call in?
Well, sort of. He called John on his cell phone.
Oh wow!
While we were doing the show, and John put him on speakerphone, and Joel was live on.
So what did he have to say?
Hello
to me privately.
Oh, I would never ask that. I would never ask that of you.
He's an inspector now, and he was going to arrest Matt on the air today. But thankfully for Matt, he had the warrant misspelled. That was before he disappeared.
Kind of a warrant?
You'd have to be in the circle.
Yeah,
which
I'm
we
definitely out of the circle.
Which we both agree that round forms are patriarchal and oppressive.
Obviously, yes.
Did you go through the liberal conspiracy indoctrination when you got your public radio show?
No.
Oh, he's gone already through the one about how to lie on air convincingly.
Right.
All
yes.
part of the conspiracy.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap up, so everybody stick around. The weekly Dion is next live right here on WMNH 95.3 FM. Tell us who you have again, Ben, one more time for people who are just tuning in.
This week, Matt Corshane from Hope program, and we'll be talking about that, a little bit about the schools and the past school board meeting. Yeah.
All right. Very good.
I interviewed him, and he's quite the young man, quite the guy.
Definitely.
All right, so we're going to get out of here, so stick around for the weekly Dion. And if you miss any part of Matt Connarton Unleashed in the afternoon, it will be up in just a little bit at WMNHradio.org, where we do archive all the shows. And that's it for me for now. I'll talk at y'all a little bit later. Bye, everybody.